Welcome back to Empower Your Presentations. This is Scott Schilling. We're going to talk about session 7, Engage the Sale. Now, this is closing, but again, I prefer to call it confirming the agreement, securing the relationship. There's a lot of other things. We'll talk about that as we go through here. So, closing the sale is the next natural progression of the entire presentation process. Ask for the order and be quiet. It's just that simple. It's not that hard. So it's the next natural progression as you go through. You've handled the objections now, and so now it's like you ready to get started. You ready to get started is a closing question, but here's what you have to do. You ready to get started? And then be quiet. You need to take that pregnant pause. You need to ask the closing question and be quiet. There's a axiom that says, he who opens their mouth first loses. Now, I don't like it because I don't think making a deal is a loss, but the point is there. You ask for the order and then you're quiet because it creates pressure in the selling situation. Well, with a yes, stop talking and sign them up. Pretty simple. Anything else, hear them out and respond accordingly. Again, you might have to go back up into step 5 and weather the storm a little bit more. You've asked for the order, and now all of a sudden they spit the bit for the second, and they're coming around and saying they want to ask you some more things. Okay, it's no big deal. It's just a thing. Nothing to get excited about. Your close starts from the first minute you engage with your prospect. That's right. From the minute that they show up at the event, from the minute they come on the screen of a online broadcast, from the minute you're face to face, that's when your close starts. It doesn't start after you've done all the presentation stuff. They're evaluating you the entire time. This is the one thing that most trainers don't teach, and they're really remiss, I think, because the fact is, the greater the relationship, the greater the opportunity. So everything starts from the very first minute. It's that serious. Your look, your expressions, your language, your expertise, your presentation, everything contributes to your success or lack thereof. Everything about you comes into play at this point. You've done this amazing job. You're at step 6. I mean, you've got 5 steps behind you at this point. Guess what? You still got a couple to go. And this is the big one. This is the one where the transaction commences. So what are the keys to closing? Well, first, I would encourage you to reframe the process in your mind. As opposed to closing a deal, consider securing the order or even securing the relationship. Why am I so big on this? Because again, word choice is big, and there's something about a callousness or I don't know, there's just an attitude when a lot of people are talking about closing. I've seen it so much on the sales floor. I've seen it so much when people are doing it. Yes, you are closing a deal. I get that. But how about reframing it into securing an order so that we can create a relationship going forward so we can do this for many years to come? For me, part of the selling process, or a lot of the selling process, is the psychological part and the psychology of it all. And when we treat people with respect, we get respect in return. So what are the keys to closing? You ready? Ask, 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 ask. It takes 7 to 12 touches to obtain the order in today's environment. 7 to 12. Used to be 3 to 5. It's moved up to 7 to 12. It's because there's so many choices. The internet, everything provides so many choices for people. It just takes many choices. So again, understand It might take you 7 times to ask them to buy, but that's okay. It takes 7 to 12 touches to obtain the order in today's environment. It just is what it is. Don't get upset. Don't get pissy about it. Don't get mean. Don't get nasty. Just go through the process. Weather the storm, handle the objection, come back, ask for the close. Didn't work, go back, handle the objection, weather the storm, come back for the close. It's just a cycle. Just keep on doing it. Learn to ask in different ways. A recent survey said the most common answer for non-buyers, 96% responded that the presenter lost control of the presentation and never asked for the order. That means they lost it. You did all this work. You've done such a great job. And then you were remiss in not asking for the order. What? That makes no sense. You've got to ask for the order. Not asking equals a no buying decision. What I mean by that, very simply, is if you ask and they say no, or you don't ask, it's also a no. So whether you ask or don't ask, a no is a no. But if you don't ask, you never know if it's really a no. You don't KNOW if it's an NO. You don't really know unless you ask. If I say, are you ready to get started? No, not today. Cool. What would be a better time frame for you? Well, we're thinking about it 30 days from now. Okay. Is there any particular reason? Well, we think our blah, 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 blah. Oh, can I make that easier for you? Can we extend some terms to you? Can we do this? Can we do that? There are ways of handling answers. But if you don't ask, you don't know. Now, I'm suggesting you do it nicely. You don't have to beat anybody over the head in order to do it. You just do it the right way. But not asking gets you a no by default. And a no by default is not as good as a no by answer and reason. Does that make sense to everybody? Hopefully you're getting that. And why is this so important? Because again, let's go back to that Notre Dame study we saw earlier. For those that saw that lesson, 44% of salespeople quit after first call, 24 after second, 14 after the third, 12 after the fourth, 94% quit after the fourth call. Again, why is it so important? 60% of all sales happen in the fifth call or after. That means only 6% of the salespeople are going after that 60% of the business that remains. They're diligent enough. They follow up enough. They do the things that it takes. If somebody says, I say, are you ready to get started? No, it's just not working for me today. Well, when do you think it might work for you? Oh, I think probably within 30 days. That's great. How about if we do this? How about if I put on the calendar to make sure that I'm in touch with you 30 days from now? But how about if we check at 14 days just to see if things have accelerated and maybe a little bit better for you? That'd be great. I've never had anybody go, you know what? Please don't care about me. Please don't try to help me. It's not the way this thing works. Is sometimes people do have legitimate reasons why it's going to be 30 days down the road. Cool. Let me give you a quote that I learned a long time ago. If you're not closing enough business today, it's not because what you've done or haven't done today. It's what you didn't do 30, 60, or 90 days ago. Today's volume is determined by yesterday's activity. Today's activity does not determine today's volume. Today's activity determines volume 30, 60, 90 days from now. If you're not having enough volume today, it's what you didn't do 30, 60, 90 days ago. So understand, it's a matter of filling your funnel. If you're not doing enough business today, start filling your funnel today so that it spills out 30, 60, 90 days from now. Well, I'm calling people and they're not responding today. Keep calling. because you're not calling for today. You're calling for 30, 60, 90 days from now. But if you don't call today, there won't be anything 30, 60, 90 days from now. This is a funnel and pipeline world. You've got to put people into the funnel. You've got to work them through the funnel. That means 7 to 12 touches. You send them little pieces of information. You tweak their interest here. You do this, you do that. You got to keep on doing those things. And basically, at some point, they come out the pipe at the bottom. That's the pipeline, because they've been nurtured along the way. Just because they don't buy today doesn't mean they're not a valuable commodity. They are. They're just not today's buyer. Today's buyer probably should have been in touch with 30, 60, 90 days ago. It's just the way it works. It takes time sometimes. So put more people in, treat them with quality, follow up, do the right things. Now, a couple of different types of closing questions. There's alternate choice close. Alternate choice close is a choice between something and something that results in an agreement. What would be an alternate choice close? Well, would Tuesday at 2 or Thursday at 6 be better for you? You've now given them an alternate choice. They can choose one or the other. Would shipping this by air or delivering it by freight be a better choice for you? So again, it always comes down to their choice, but it's an alternative choice. That's an example of an alternative choice close. Another one where no means yes. Now, this one's, you're going to have to think about this a lot. And let me tell you, we did this extremely successfully in the seminar business. You need to ask a question where no means yes. Why? Because up until a time where, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, we've heard 450 times a day, no, 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 no. So if a yes, no question is asked of an adult, studies show that 80% of the time the adult will say no. If it's a yes, no choice, 80% of the time studies show they will say no. Well, does no get you deals? If you craft the question well. So we crafted the question in this way. What did you like best about what you just saw and heard? Oh man, the ability to make so much money was incredible. I agree with you. It was awesome. Is there any reason why you wouldn't want to get started right now? No. Well, what does no mean? No means yes. There's no reason I wouldn't want to get started, which means there is reason I would want to get started. So again, it's a sales psychology thing. I can tell you that it opens up questions. Oh, by the way, people still have objections when you say, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to get started right now? Yeah, I can think of a few reasons. Okay, no big deal. You just go into weather the storm at that point. Anytime you're in a selling situation, all you want is a position. You almost don't care what the position is. You just want to have one so you can address it. It doesn't matter what their position is. There is a way to handle their position. That's the exciting part about what we do. So if anybody wants to talk to me about that, reach out. Scott at theauthenticconnector.com or Scott at scottschilling.com. And then types of closing questions that people go, are these really closing questions? Yeah, they're absolutely closing questions. So what do you think? You ready to get started? That's a closing question. Closing questions you don't have to pontificate and make these long and involved closing questions. In fact, I probably use, so what do you think? I probably use these two more than I use anything else on the planet. Okay, we've been talking about this. You've got a pretty good track on everything. So what do you think? You ready to get started? Yeah. Okay, good. Let's get going. Let's write it up. So again, closing questions don't have to be so dramatic. They simply have to get the next piece of action moving forward. Pretty simple on that side. Closing the sale or securing the order is simply helping your prospect visualize the after state of saying yes and then seeing the results to their decision and action. So, what's the after state? I've said repeatedly, people buy benefits. What will it do for them? So, the after state is the state in which they've already made the purchase. The purchase is already in action in their environment. In other words, they're looking to buy a couch. The after state is them visualizing being in that couch on their back deck, having a cup of coffee in the morning when the sun rises. That's the after state. You put them in the state that they will be in after they make the purchase. So after state is really important. It's getting them to own the benefit. And when they say yes, seeing the results of saying yes, congratulating them on a great decision. Again, this is just helping people do what ultimately they want to do for all the right reasons. When you help enough other people get what they want, you'll get everything you want. Just put them first. So, wow, another session in the books. We got one more left. Revitalize Your Future, Session 8, Gaining Referrals. Man, this is a fun one, and it's going to be fun to wrap this all up. Thank you so much for being here. God bless you. I really appreciate you, and know that I'm here to be of service to you to help you be more successful going forward. We'll see you again soon. Have a fabulous day. God bless.